Welcome back, everyone, to episode 8 of Show and Tell. This is my small adventure to highlight creators and contributors to the Magic community. Today, I'm very, very excited to be joined by the Filthy Casuals, Jen and Doni. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. I know we've talked a lot on Twitter, haven't quite got a game yet in, which is, I'm going to blame the universe. I was joking before, it might be me, but the universe sometimes has a weird way of doing things. But thanks for joining me today.
No, thanks for having us, man. We've been looking forward to this for sure.
Thanks for the invite.
Of course. So, the go-to joke is I always like to start at the beginning. And you guys are some old school players. You guys have been playing, I think, Magic since 1995. Is that correct?
Yes.
Long time. I mean, we did take a little break in between, like right around the time we got married, and then we started back up. But yeah, we played. Like I got really into it, I guess, around Ice Age.
Yeah.
Was kind of when I got into it, and he was into it before me, and he got me into it.
That's fun. So yeah, I was gonna ask. And gosh, that's even before I started playing. So talk to me about Magic. What got you into playing? I guess my joke was, what was first? Was playing Magic together, or was the relationship first? Like, how did that
go? The relationship came first. Yeah. The Magic came second.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll let him share how he got into it.
Well, I mean,
yeah, definitely.
So I was hanging out with some friends of mine, and they were playing, and I was like, "What are you guys doing?" And they kind of explained it to me, and then they just grabbed a whole bunch of stuff and said, "Look, we're not using these cards. Take this."
Nice.
So I took the cards, I went home, I looked up, I tried to learn some stuff about the game, and then I built a mono green deck, and it's been it's my favorite thing ever since. So
I've been playing it. I think it's rare for someone who's played Magic that long to have played it all the way through. I think a lot of times sometimes you take some breaks because it's just life, or there's so much product out there. But Jen, you started with Ice Age. What set were you playing, Donnie, when you first got into it? Do you remember
So it was I want to say it was probably right before Ice Age.
Okay.
So you're looking at what we had, Antiquities and the Dark,
and
Revised and stuff like that.
We had a lot of old white bordered cards.
Yes, lots of old white bordered cards.
Still do have a lot of old white border cards.
Yeah, there's something. It's funny. Now, white border cards have a sort of a reminiscing quality to it. I think about when I started playing around Urza's, but it was friends would give you a bunch of their old white border cards and stuff, and I can remember the lands especially, they have a special place in my Magic memory of oh yeah, this is the sentimentality of it all. So so when you started, okay, so Jen, how did you get into playing? Were you just were you into it from the beginning, or was there some cajoling, or how did that come about?
I mean, it was kind of the art. I saw him playing it one day, and I was like, wow, what is this? What are you doing? What is all of these little cards have all of these pictures on it, and it's all really good art. So, of course, somehow I ended up playing too, and now I don't know. It's such a part of who we are and our relationship too, that I couldn't even imagine not playing,
Yeah. When you guys started, were you playing, is it just kind of kitchen top Magic or kitchen table Magic, or did you guys play competitive formats, or did you just did you play I guess
in the beginning it was kitchen table for me, and then we started going to pre-release events at the Game Center downtown Seattle, and I played, I don't know, probably for 5 years, and then I just got tired of the meta never really changing.
That's our dog drinking water, in case you're wondering what that noise is.
Not a problem. This is a pro dog podcast.
That's good, because we've got one right here under the table staring at us too. I would lift them and show them, but they're big dogs, so it doesn't work.
Oh.
But so I played competitively probably for 5 years, but
oh wow,
I got tired of it. I lost interest. I was more interested in just, building weird, janky, whatever I wanted to kind of stuff. And
yeah, I only ever really did kitchen table casual type stuff. Like, we had another couple, actually, that was very much into the game, too. So the four of us would get together. It was like every Friday night or Saturday night. Like, we would spend all weekend playing. We would eat and play some more, and it was just we would sleep and get up and play some more, and and it was a whole weekend thing. So yeah, it was a whole lot of. Commander was not a thing back then. Like, I didn't even know. Commander's amazing. When we came back into Magic and found Commander, that's remarkable stuff. Singleton formats, way better than kitchen table casual.
Oh yeah, so I always joke that I'm like the epitome of kitchen table guy. Like, I never play. I've been to one Friday Night Magic and I just got destroyed by everyone there. And I played a lot on and off from I think junior high through high school. Then I always joke I went to college and I minored in Magic because that's where I had a friend who really taught me like how the stack works and all this kind of stuff. And I always joke I finally kind of mastered like damage on the stack. And then I stopped playing for it. I came back, and I'm like, oh, it's gone. Like, I used to use it all the time. What is going on? But
I miss damage on the
so
mana burn.
And mana burn.
I mean, I had built a Citadel of Pain, like, mana burn deck at one point, and I came back recently, and I was so stoked because I was like, yeah, this deck's so cool. And like, oh, no, mana burn's gone. Like, you can't. It literally, I'm like, oh, this deck does nothing now. Like, there's no. So pointless. I was super excited because my friend had actually built it, I think, in college and played it against me, and I hated it because it was like I have to tap my lands, but then I get down. Like, I don't know what to like. It was such like a mind blowing deck to play against, which is kind of probably embarrassing to say because it probably at the time wasn't that impressive. But I was just like, this is pre really like internet. Internet was around, but you weren't seeing there weren't like deck techs and YouTubes all over the place. So that's funny. Well, I mean, it sounds like for you guys, I mean, Commander was kind of the perfect format, which I think there's probably, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think there's a big crossover between kitchen top people and Commander because it's a lot of it you're just kind of playing for obviously the social aspect, but like you get to build a lot of weird and unique decks, right? Like the jankiness. Like when I came back most recently when Dominaria had just come out, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I know that plane and all that kind of stuff. But then I found Commander. I was like, oh, like this is like awesome. Like all the kind of cool, unique things you can do. You could use. I mean, having cards. I mean, you guys, if you've been playing so long, you have cards from obviously older sets, and be able to use a lot of those. I think it was a big allure as well, right? Because it's like, oh, I can use. I'm not stuck in like standard, even modern.
Open up the vault, just get it all out.
Yeah.
You can play with anything. That's the thing I like the most about Commander is that you can literally just, pull anything out of anywhere and run it.
When did you guys start playing Commander? Is that, I know you said you kind of came back with that. Was that a more recent thing, or has it been a few years now?
No, even before that. So we kind of got back in around Ixalan, and it wasn't long after that we kind of ventured into the world of Commander. And of course, we started playing with another couple who also played Magic, and they played Commander. And yeah. And then we got back into it. And we've just been playing Commander ever since. Like, we don't play anything else.
Yeah. So, okay. So I feel like I should ask some Magic questions. So do you have a particular like play style when it comes to Commander in terms of, or any like favorite Commanders right now you've been working on or you've been playing with?
For me, and I know he's looking at me because right now I'm on this kick, right? I have Glunch. Love Glunch. Absolutely adore this deck. I've played this deck more than I've played any other deck I've ever built. We went to Command Fest Bellevue, and I just played it nonstop. But it's Glunch tokens, and I love tokens. We're both big on tokens, so it's just Celestia tokens, but with Glunch as the commander, which gives me a great political tool. Like, I can give things to people, I can make deals with people. It's been a lot of fun. It's definitely my kind of play style.
I think the political aspect is an underrated part of Commander that people kind of overlook in terms of like using that power in terms of like controlling the outcome of a game, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
absolutely.
Well, I know for me, I was always intimidated by the political piece, right? Like people would do that with me, but I never got political with other people. Like, I'm going to do this if you'll do this, and that's a problem, and if we deal with it. Like, it took me a long time to really get comfortable with that piece. That was my struggle.
Yeah, it's hard because, you know, by nature, Commander, you know, extension EDH is a social format, right? I think that's kind of how it originated. And because of the multiplayer aspect, like the politics is a part, you know, if you've played a lot of Magic, it's typically one-on-one. So there's no politicking going on, right? You're not going to be like, oh, don't attack me. Like, why would you? So it kind of opens, yeah. It's like you're playing your opponent. It's like, if you don't attack me this turn, like, I won't attack you. It's like, why would I make a deal, you know?
Right.
But it opens up a whole new kind of like play path that people, you know, just aren't either used to or kind of don't really consider. I think you see a lot of people, you know, talk about the power of politics, and it's like it could be a very, you know, if you're good at politicking, I think you could really kind of edge yourself out in some cases. Not that like Commander is all about edging people out and winning games. I think for the most part, like it's fun to win, but you know, it's just different ways of enjoying the game. I think it's an important thing to consider. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you got any fun decks, Doni, you've been playing right now, or anything that's really caught your eye? Your eyes go wide.
You know what? I mean, I've really been putting Darian through his paces now that we've got a lot more white card draw.
He recently updated Darian.
Yeah.
He forgets to update his decks.
I'm horrible.
He's really bad about it. But with all the white card draw now, right? You got the guy that lets you win your opponent's search, right?
I got the Archivist Logma,
which is amazing. That card is awesome.
I got the maid. What's her name?
The Busybody.
Yeah. She's
the one that lets you, depending on the amount of tokens you played this turn, you pay X, and you get to go search the top cards of your library, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Ellie.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Ellen Hargreaves. There you go.
There you go.
I love it.
That's
and
right.
Benny, you have the Benny thing now,
Yep.
and all these wonderful token things in white that also do card draw things.
Yeah. So I've been playing Darian a lot lately.
That's cool.
It.
It sounds like it's a good deck. I'm really bad at updating. I have this thing where I build decks. I get an idea for a deck. I'm like, oh, that'd be a cool deck to have. So I'll build this deck, and then it'll sit on a shelf. And like, I have, you know, I think I just built a Fumiko, which is like the red female samurai. It's like you have to attack each turn, so it's like a fight deck.
Yeah.
So then I built that because I'm like, oh, Falco Spara came out. I was like, oh, like a counters, creature matters sort of deck. Though I was really bummed because I originally thought you could use his ability, you could pull counters off of any of your cards, but it's off of just creatures.
Yeah.
So I was like, I would think I was so smart. I was like, oh yeah, like if you use this like with suspend cards, you can get them out really fast. I was like, oh, and then I reread it. I was like, oh no, I completely. So I finished the deck because why not, you know? But I was just like, I remember I was so disappointed. I was like, oh man, this is why I'm not a deck builder. I just kind of, but yeah, it was definitely one of those things. But I love, you get an idea for a deck. Like I think it's really cool, like the process of putting it together. I always joke, I think I have more decks than I've actually played games of Commander, just because I haven't, you know, I don't. Other than I think MTG Vegas in last November was like the first time I don't really have a play group around me, so I'm just like, whatever. I just keep, you know, I like I'm big on tribal stuff, so like I have a Knights deck and I have what else do I have? I have a Shrines deck I'm working on and like all this other kind of stuff. So
Shrines are not my favorite thing. Doni also has a Shrines deck.
Yes.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Do you use the commander from the Shrines commander essentially from Neo Kamigawa or?
No, it's Kenrith and it's creatureless enchantments.
Okay.
So there's no creatures in the deck. There are enchantments in the deck that can create creatures.
Gotcha.
You know, like Shark Typhoon and that other kinds of stuff.
Oh,
but the primary win con is Door to Nothingness, powered by Signets.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
He has shown me the Door to Nothingness a couple times now.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of thing I think is cool. Is like those kind of alternate win conditions, or like my Shrines deck. I have Garth One Eye as the commander because like I think it's a cool card and I like his ability. I don't know if it's necessarily a strong commander to build around on his own.
Oh yeah,
like it's a 5-color,
it
5-color commander.
It absolutely
yeah.
is.
Again, that's why I'm not the deck builder. I'm just like, let's put this stuff together. But gives you a chance to tap and make a Black Lotus. Like I'll never touch a black. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna hold one, but having a token one, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's fun. Yeah, and I think that's for a lot of people. There's so many aspects of Commander that you can kind of get into. I think is why it really draws a lot of people in. But like for you guys, I think you kind of had made a name as a couple going on and making the rounds on a lot of guest streams and everything. So how was that? Like, what motivated you guys to kind of start get on, playing on streams, or was that just something that just kind of happened, or?
It just kind of happened. Doni started playing on Spell Table, right? So he found people.
Yeah.
We kind of started on Instagram and kind of worked our way over to Twitter. We met a lot more people who played over Spell Table on Twitter than we ever did on Instagram. And then, one of the first games I ever remember playing was Alan with Mental Misplay. Yeah. He wanted to do this all-girl stream, right? So it was me and Zbex and her name is Missed My Triggers on Instagram.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Mackenzie, yeah.
Mackenzie.
So we all played, and it was a lot of fun, and I think that was one of my earliest experiences with streaming. Mm-hmm. Then we met the ladies from Tap That MTG, Leslie and Shauna, and they were our age, and they were playing Magic, and they were hilarious, and I loved it, and and we just all became really good friends, and we guested on theirs many times, and that just kind of led to, oh my god, there's so many streamers, there's so many people we could be playing with. And then it was recorded. I'm like, I can go back and watch it. This is exciting. I can go back and go look at that. I misplayed right there, and yeah, that's literally how it got started.
That's cool. Yeah, it's it's amazing the breadth of the streaming community when it comes to especially Commander, and just the amount of people who are out there, and just I don't want to say that having more followers or any sort of thing is any sort of indication in terms of self-worth, but it's kind of cool. A lot of times you'll see a lot of people playing a lot with a lot of different levels of these stream, because sometimes it can be really easy, especially when it comes to gaming communities. There can be a lot of weird gatekeeping that comes around with I don't want to play with these, but it's always cool. I think for the most part, the community, especially the streamers or guesting community, everyone's really happy just to kind of get games, which is really, I think, really fun to see. And they're always so entertaining. I think for the most part, people are very fun and very easy to get along with, and it's I always think about when I kind of started getting back into Magic, and then this kind of weird part-time content creator world, or whatever you want to call it, with my end. I found you guys on Twitter, and there was a bunch of people who I kind of found all at once, and just kind of being involved and seeing your tweets and the way you interact with people. Oh yeah, these are awesome people, and these are really easy people to kind of talk to. They're very fun and very welcoming, and I think that's a very important aspect of the Magic community that definitely needs to be highlighted. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do here, is finding these people and really being able to kind of shine a light on what they're doing. And I know for you guys especially, I think you guys have been probably two of my favorite people to kind of follow on Twitter and follow your games, because you're always so, you're always so inspiring, you're always so nice, you're always so happy. It's always so fun to kind of be in that realm. And I think you guys, because that's, in a lot of ways, you guys are an inspiration to me as a sort of small creator and just person out there, to see what the best of the community can be. So I tip my hat to you guys. I think you guys are definitely a very positive influence, and I hope you guys keep doing what you're doing as long as you want to, right? If it ever it's not fun, you can move on. But I definitely think you guys have been great. So, and even more so, you've kind of gone from guest streamers to pretty powerhouse streamers yourself now. I saw you guys kind of take the leap.
Yeah. We're strong like that.
Strong like that. From what the community you guys have built in, on your own, under your own self, I think it's been pretty impressive in a relatively short amount of time. I'm in your guys' Discord. I see the amount of games you're doing and the interactions. What inspired you to kind of go from bouncing around other people's streams to say, let's do this on our own. Like, let's start, hosting our own nights and kind of bringing people on. What was that? I guess what was that conversation like, and what was like that jump like for you guys?
I mean, it was kind of, we found ourselves. People started asking us, "Hey, when are you guys going to start streaming? When are you guys going to do this? When are you, and then we kicked it around and we were like, well, do we really want to? Is that something that we can see ourselves doing? And then it was just kind of like, you know what? Sure, why not? Let's do it. Yeah. Let's see what happens, right? What's the worst that can happen? We're already playing online. We're already guesting on streams. So, let's go ahead and take it to the next level. And it's been great.
It's been amazing.
Yeah. We've met so many people that we never would have had an opportunity to interact with before, since the pandemic and Spell Table and all this other stuff. And it's been a really amazing experience, and we hope we can just keep doing what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. What's it been like, I guess, building out like your community? I guess for people who maybe kind of want to do kind of something similar, like, what have you found has been the most rewarding part, and what have you found is maybe something you didn't think about beforehand, or something you found to be kind of more difficult? Has there been any like weird big hiccups, like, scheduling can be hard, or just balancing your
scheduling can be hard,
magic and non-magic life? Like, what are those things been like for
trying
you guys?
to balance, like, we both have regular jobs too, so trying to balance that along with all of this, and still, like, this is what we want to be doing, but I mean, we're not gonna ever. This is gonna be like the only thing we do.
I mean, unless somebody wants to like throw some money at us, because I'm willing. I'm totally willing.
No,
you're ready. Let's get these guys sponsors. They'll make the jump to full time. Like, just give them the signal, and they're ready to go.
Absolutely.
Balancing has probably been the trickiest part, because we really do like to interact with everyone. We've got a lot of really good friends that we've made during this process, just on the time we've been on Twitter. Plus, I mean, before that, when we were on Instagram, and I mean, we're still on Instagram, but we're probably a lot more active on Twitter.
Yeah.
But we've made some really great friends, and trying to balance everything and go to these events and be a part of things, as well as try to balance out the schedule. And we had a lot of people that are like, we want to play with you, and we're like, we want to play with you too, but can you book in 2 months?
Yeah.
And it's, I want to get in games with everyone. If somebody asks, I never want to be that person that says no.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably, that's what you kind of want to get out of this sort of thing, right? You want people to be excited to come play with you guys, and the fact that you're booking weeks, months out in advance, I think it points to you guys are probably doing something right, So that's.
Hope so.
We hope so.
I would say so. But when it comes to like building a community and kind of be involved with these people, Doni, can you explain to me why you shouldn't always die first? I can't imagine there being a true reason. Is there?
So.
It's because he plays things like shrines and
one of our followers. The first time they saw me play, I was playing my Kenrith Shrines deck.
Oh boy!
And
are we talking about Riley or Bowser?
We're talking about Riley.
Okay. Riley Cats.
It's the kind of deck that once it reaches a certain point, it almost becomes impossible to interact with.
It is impossible to
interact with. And I had reached that point in this game, and it was torture for the other 3 players until it was over. It was, I think I was doing like
one of those 3 players.
Like, one turn I did 37 damage during my upkeep, and then the next turn it gets out of control very quickly. And ever since that moment, that kind of started the Doni dies first thing, and then
DDFC.
Corey over at that TCG guy, he's a real big proponent of that as well. We used to go back and forth when I was on his stream. I'd be Corey dies first. He's like Doni dies first, and then it just turned into this kind of movement as we started spending more time on stream and that kind of thing. But I mean, yeah, I do have decks that can do the thing, but I mean, I don't win any more decks than anybody, or any more games than anybody else does.
It's because Doni dies first. It's also because he has this uncanny way of when you think it's over and he's defeated, he's going to come back. And if you ignore him, he's going to come back stronger.
Yeah.
And I know this, and people that have never played with him don't believe me until it happens.
Well, that's the mentality you're supposed to have, right? Like, it's always the joke with the heart of the cards. Like, you always have, there's always that out, and if you can just figure it out, and with Commander, there's so many different lines, there's so much going on.
You just get one more turn.
Sometimes, sometimes all it takes is one more turn, right? One more card can be the difference.
It really does.
Between
I won a 4-hour game of Commander with Halo Fountain. And to me, that was the craziest experience I've ever had. But it was because I had that one more turn. That's what did it.
Yep.
It's crazy how sometimes these lines can play out where you could have, a 4-hour game, but it comes down to one more turn, right? And then had something, had you drawn a land instead of whatever, maybe it would have gone a different way. But I think that's why there's such a big pull for a lot of people for Commander, is because there's such a variety in deck building, but the singleton format especially, you never know what's really going to happen. No game really should ever play out the same. I mean, maybe if you kind of get to the more streamlined, I guess CEDH is kind of built around the thought of getting your thing doing the thing as quickly and most efficiently as possible. But that's more of a power level discussion with your group. What you're trying to get out of the game. But I've also heard Jen's always a threat. So I don't know. I
absolutely she is. She absolutely is.
It's a propaganda campaign to get the pressure off of him. It's smart. That's the politicking part of Commander. Doni just he's trying to get back that level playing field for you guys, so he's not just immediately targeted, right?
Absolutely.
Yep, that's what he did. It's to take the attention off him.
Yep.
Because I'm the president of the DDFC. I'm the president of the club that says he must die first.
Yep.
Yes, you got to be careful. Watch your back.
Always. Head on the swivel.
On head on a swivel, exactly. I always tell that. I play basketball. I'm like, you got to have your head on a swivel when you're guarding your guy.
Yep.
Because you never know. The ball's going to be here. So be ready. Basketball and Magic. The cross section of basketball and Magic. There it is. Head on a swivel.
There you go.
Applies to playing defense and playing Commander.
Yep.
So, I kind of talked about CDH a little bit. There's a lot of opinions about just Commander and playing games in general. So, for you guys, what do you, when you go to play a game, actually, I think Jen, you might even tweet, it's either today or yesterday, you kind of tweeted about this, what you try to get out of playing the game. For you guys, what are you looking for out of a game of Commander or Magic or, whatever it is? What do you think is the most important part of when you sit down and you start playing, what you're looking to get out of it?
For me, I just want to have a good time. And I don't want to be the only one having a good time. I want everyone to have a good time. If your intention is to win, that's great. But I also want you to have a good time. I don't want winning to be the main focus.
Yeah.
A lot of that came from, we started playing with Bobby Christine. Christine is a big advocate for, think about the things you play, right? Think about the cards, right? Think about how you're interacting with other people and then how you want to be interacted with.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that really got me thinking about the way I play and, instead of playing with a regular counterspell, let's play with Arcane Denial. Let's give someone card draw because I took away whatever they were going to do. Mm-hmm. And that's how I try to go into everything now.
Yeah, it's tough with the way Magic has been as a game and like with Commander, because there's so many ways to kind of approach how you play. Because at its core, I guess pre-Commander, it was really like you're playing, it's a one-on-one. You're kind of playing to win. But with like this type of play style, like it's really designed as like a more hang out with your friends, play weird old cards sort of thing. And I don't have the answers. I consume a lot of Commander Twitter and YouTube or whatever, and it's like I go back and forth, and I'm just like, like you should be able to play. If someone likes playing stacks or whatever, like why should they, not get to play the way they want? But there, obviously, like most things, there's got to be a balance, right? You don't want one person's enjoyment to negate the other three or however many people's play style.
My dogs are just cracking me up. They're never behind us like this, doing this. I don't know why they're doing it now.
They're like, this is our moment to shine. This is how we become YouTube famous. To my small, like 17 subscriber audience, half of which are my friends. But you know what? All my friends are big dog people, so I would follow a dog YouTube channel if it was just hanging out. Like, I got 2 small dogs that I love to death, would drive me crazy. So can't argue with the dogs. But yeah, it's it's one of those things, like trying to find that balance of what's enjoyable for everybody, and then it's enjoyable for the dogs. Like if the dogs aren't enjoyable, having like what can you do there? Yep.
Exactly.
What have you found has been? I mean, when you guys start games, do you do like the rule zero conversation, or how have you found effective ways to kind of present the games to kind of make sure everyone's having a good time?
Oh no, absolutely. We start every session off with, okay, what's everybody trying to do this evening? What's the mood? What's the vibe? And then we just kind of
go from there.
Mix and match and talk about, well, somebody say, hey, I just built this, or I've been testing this, or I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So how about how do you think this would do with this, or and we just kind of play mix and match for however long it takes to find a good mix. And I mean, most of the time that works really, really well for us. We haven't had a lot of one-sided games doing it that way.
No, I can only think of one game we played, and it wasn't on our stream, but it was on someone else's, and it was the only time it's been really mismatched. But playing against an Enchantress deck, I feel like it's always tricky. This one was really tricky.
Oh, really?
But yeah, no, I think we don't prevent people from playing things, right? Like Doni said, we kind of have this conversation. He always starts out with, what's the vibe?
Yeah.
What's everyone feel like playing?
I mean, I got everything from like mono green Ovia to Memnarch.
I don't know. We're not a fan of power level. I don't do well with a scale of 1 to 10.
It's too arbitrary.
Like I don't know.
Intent matters.
Yeah.
You can play like Darian. I run most of the fast mana and all the pain lands, but my commander costs 6.
Yeah.
It's
going to get removed,
and we kill it many times.
I'm gonna
we have to bring it back.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to cast it at least once, if not twice a game. Well, that's 12 mana for the
times.
And it's just kind of like intent matters, deck building matters.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said the other day, kind of like what you were just saying, take into consideration the other player's experience. Build decks that you're going to be happy losing to.
Yeah, someone did say that. Who was that? It was so good.
I read it. I read it this morning, and I was like, yeah, and that really resonated.
The kind of decks you want to play against.
Yeah, and that really resonated with me.
I love that.
One of my favorite win cons is killing everybody at the same time.
Yes.
Like everybody, even me. Like everybody dies.
That way you don't have that one player that's sitting there for like an hour while everyone else is still playing, because that's the worst.
Which
I did that to him
me.
the other
That's
day.
usually
yeah. Yeah, makes sense. They're coming after you first.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite win con, is whether it's like pestilence effects or, even if it's just storming off and taking everybody out at the same time. That's,
Triumph of the Hordes.
Triumph of the Hordes is a personal favorite.
Apparently, that's one that's been associated with me now.
After what you did to Steph, come on.
It was fine. It was fine. I just, created a whole bunch of Pegasi and then killed everyone with infected Pegasi.
Yeah.
It was fine.
that's seems right on par for the return of the Phyrexians, and in fact, I wonder if we'd ever get a Phyrexian Pegasus. That'd be actually kind of cool. There's some.
I'm trying to get an altar made. What is that card that makes Pegasi based on your life total? I don't remember the name. Stormbird?
That's
Stormbird.
Something like that. I think it's got a herd. And
I want to get a altar made where they look like Phyrexian Pegasi instead.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet. Yeah. What else? I guess what is I think Nightmare. I don't think it's a Pegasus, but it's like a dark Nightmare horse. It's an old school card. Probably not very good these days, but
power and toughness based on the number of swamps that you have.
Yeah. It's a good card.
Yeah.
It's classic.
Yeah, that's cool. That's funny. Phyrexian Pegasus would be pretty cool. We're just gonna have that one for free. There you go. There's one for your art file. Mark Rosewater, make that. He's not art, but yeah, I think you guys have it right. I think building a vibe, trying to find powered levels by numbers, like you said, Donnie, it's too arbitrary. Like what's a 7 to you might be a 5 to me, or might be a 9 to me, and because there's no real way of how do you quantitate power level of a deck, right? There's so much that goes into it, and I think being able to kind of at least get an idea of what you want to get out of the game, and I think it's okay to build decks that have soul. There's obviously should every deck have a soul ring or mana crypt? I think fast mana is fine, but if you build fast mana with offset it with expensive commanders or expensive creatures, that's kind of a good way to balance the two, right? I think people probably need to run more interaction. That's probably my biggest thing I think about is just run a little more interaction, and you could probably have a lot less problems with people's dex levels, because everyone want to constantly want. I don't think everyone sitting there spinning their wheels for 5 turns is necessarily the best way. But again, I don't know. Maybe that's old school battle cruiser commander, and maybe that's what people want to do. But I just think there's got to be a give and take on both sides, right? I think to make the games more enjoyable for everyone, you got to give a little to get a little. So,
Sure.
But like I said, I think you guys have been doing a great job of kind of really building out this sort of community of people who play together, vibe together. That's really commander's a vibe, right? That's really what it comes down to. You're just trying to vibe, you're trying to hang out. Spell table I know has been great for a lot of people being able to play, kind of being stuck inside. So I think you guys have been doing a great job of that, and I'm really happy to see that people are lining up to play with you. You guys said you were at Command Fest Richmond, is that, or is
Bellevue?
Bellevue. So there was a bunch of them, all back to back. So I kind of got them all. Whatever.
Well, and some were going on at the same time. Bellevue was going on at the same time the one in Florida was happening.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah, which is kind of weird. I mean, I don't know. I guess scheduling's a little weird, but I guess if you're going to go to distance and location wise, maybe it makes sense that you don't need to have them spaced out. But how was that? I mean, how's your experience going to? I mean, had that been your first Command Fest, or was that something you'd done before? What was that like?
Well, so we went to the last Magic Fest in Seattle, which is
2019.
2019.
Okay, that was
just before
pandemic,
and that was amazing.
So that was our first big event, and then
this one was even better.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because we had all of these people it's just, I don't know, there's something about someone walking up to you going, "Aren't you?" And I'm like, "I am."
Me.
Yeah. And all of these people we've made friends with, and we got to meet Bobby Christine and Lynn Frank and all of these people we've been playing Magic with.
Yeah.
And then new people too. And then we got to meet people from Wizards, and we had this whole situation with Pastimes. So Pastimes was the organization with this.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw all of that, but Doni wasn't answering my text.
Yeah.
So I put on Twitter, someone tell Pippin to text his wife. Well, and Pastimes got a hold of that, and they just went crazy with it, and they loved it.
Yeah.
We ended up meeting their social media manager. Her name was Candace.
Yep.
And she let us, the very last day, she took a picture of us together, and she was so excited, and you could just see the excitement on her face. And she goes, "I'll be right back." And she comes back with all these cards upside down in these sleeves, and she says, "Pick 2." And these were those ampersand.
Oh yeah, those are.
And I was like,
fancy.
"Wait, what?"
Yeah. Just because we were just being us and dorky and yeah.
Best move I ever made, putting that on Twitter. I had no idea it was going to be so. She said people at Wizards got a big kick out of it too.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, I mean,
awesome.
I think that speaks a lot to, like you said, being yourself. Like, I think it's important to, like, be yourself, right? Like, that's for a lot of people, like, playing Magic and doing this being themselves. It's like, maybe it's nerdy or whatever, but like, that's part of the fun. Like, kind of not worrying about that kind of thing and just going out there and enjoying yourself and being able to, that's a great story, right? That is one of those things you look back on and you think about, like, what people can talk about in terms of, like, communities and, like, oh, maybe they're not as welcoming, but you hear stories like that, like, that shows you, like, the kind of people that are out there and the kind of people you can become friends with and meet. And I think that's really the kind of stuff that I really like. I really like to hear it. And that's, I mean, and now anytime you're at an event, you have a whole cavalcade of people you can reach out to. Under the someone found me, find my husband. Like, he's run off again. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
So
that's
and there's definitely something to be said about in-person Magic, right? I went to, I think I said earlier, I was at MTG Vegas back in, I think, last November, and it was kind of like the first big, probably might have been the first event post lockdowns, and I got to meet Veggie Wagon in person. I kind of started talking to him on Twitter, and I got to meet the one Jame in person, and I got to meet Lord Kaiju in person, and like these are guys like I had been tweeting with and like talking to about, and like, kind of seeing them and actually being able to meet them in person, and like we got some games and hanging out. Like, that was a really cool experience, like meeting these people you've kind of only known virtually, and especially I can imagine you guys, with the amount of games you played and the people you met, like getting to sit down and like see them in person really highlights the importance of the gathering, in Magic the Gathering. And it's always, I think that's an important aspect of this whole weird, wild world we find ourselves in with this little cardboard game we play. So that's great.
They're expensive little cardboard rectangles.
Oh gosh, yes. That is the truth right there. Yes. So well, I gotta figure out how to edit that out. Guys, you've been great. I've been so stoked to be able to sit down with you. I'm glad we got to get this sorted away. I've been on vacation last week, so I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get ready. I'm like super stoked to finally, be able to talk to you guys in person. I mean, this is cool too. Like, only interacting with people on Twitter and then kind of getting to see their faces and talk with them. Like, it's that interpersonal relationship thing that I think really is a big asset to the Magic community in general. So it's been a very good time. So what I like to do, because the goal for me on this podcast is building out community. So what I do, and whatever I can when I have my guests, is I'm going to pop up my community board, which is this really silly little cork board with my pins. I'm going to pop it up and I'm going to make a pin. And I look to support my community in any way I can. I think the best way that I can is helping them, like, financially, fiscally, right? So, like, I'm going to be, next time I can catch your stream, I'm going to become a subscriber, right? So now I'm always going to be one of your subscribers. So at least in that way, I can always try to help you, the little ways I can to kind of help you guys continue to work on your content and being able to support you guys. Like, the show and tell show will do its part in that aspect. So that way, I can, after this is done and I've uploaded, like, at least there's a way I can continue to support you guys. So I look forward to be able to do that next time I can catch on. So you'll see the little show and tell to you thing becomes a subscriber, and I will, that'll be something I maintain as a small just gesture of being able to follow you guys on this great adventure you're doing together, which is super cool. And additionally, we kind of talked about in my continued / with my guest, the continued fight for bodily autonomy. We'll be making another donation to the National Abortion Federation. Again, if there is, any way that we can continue to help people get the possibly life-saving health care they deserve, hopefully hopefully this is one step towards that as well. So those are obviously two things I'm passionate about, and I just want to thank you guys again for coming on. This has been great. I'm looking forward to getting a game with you at some point.
Yes.
We'll figure it out. You know, I'll slide in one of those slots. I will make time on my end. If I can.
I'm telling you, man. Any Friday night, just hit me up.
Perfect.
Just let me know for sure.
So thank you again. Anybody, you know, I will have all your socials and everything linked below. So you know, feel free if anyone's watching this to find them on Twitter. You know, get some games and join their community. Their Discord's really fun. And yeah, if you like this show, I've just now started. I think this is like episode 8. I now tell people if you're interested, like maybe subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like I don't know, like maybe I'll break 20 subscribers this month. Like that'd be kind of cool. But if not, that's fine. I had fun. So, guys,
I got you. I'll subscribe.
Yeah, there we go. I feel like that might be 2. You know, if you both have one, that's right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We actually have 3.
Yeah, we have 3.
Oh, there we go.
We can do that.
All right, I can retire happy now. Breaking 20 is like that's like a eye in the sky for me, man. It's rolling into the deep, man. Call me Adele. All right, so guys, thank you again so much for coming on, and look forward to seeing what the future holds. And you know, maybe one of these days if I catch you at a convention or whatever, and love to get a game in person, because you know, again, what is Magic without the gathering? So
that would
thanks.
be amazing. Dude.
Yes,
absolutely.
Perfect. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we will catch you next time.